Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison LaGrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. In our top stories, the US Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump condemned the atrocities faced by Hindus in Bangladesh yesterday. Taking to social media platform X, he wrote about the violence against Hindus, Christians and other minorities in Bangladesh. Trump has spoken on the issue of Bangladesh for the first time. He also added that President Joe Biden and his deputy Kamala Harris ignored Hindus across the world. And former US President Donald Trump also spoke on the issue of immigration and called the United States an occupied country. He made the statement while holding the rally in Nevada yesterday. Trump said that November 5th would be marked as a Liberation Day. He further hit out at his rival and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Trump claimed that she has been aiding and abetting illegal immigrants from across the world. Former US President Donald Trump declared himself as a protector of women on Wednesday. Trump said that he would be a protector of women whether they liked it or not. He made the statement at a rally in Wisconsin. The comments come at a time when polls show Donald Trump is the least popular among women voters. And US Vice President Kamala Harris slammed Republican candidate Donald Trump over his women's protector remark. She branded the comments as offensive to everybody. Harris said that Trump did not believe that women should have the authority to make decisions about their own bodies. Democratic candidate further added that Trump was the same man who said that women must be punished for their choices. And Israeli strikes on Syria's Qusayr region killed at least 10 people on Thursday, mostly civilians. Also, at least 11 people sustained injuries. And a Syrian observatory said that 3 strikes targeted the town of Qusayr, where Hezbollah holds its control. One of the strikes hit a weapons depot and a fuel storage facility for Hezbollah. Hezbollah's rocket attack on northern Israel killed 5 civilians on Thursday. The deadly attack took place in the northern town of Metula. In a separate attack, 2 others were also killed on the outskirts of Haifa. Hezbollah said it had fired barrages of rockets toward Israel, targeting Israeli forces. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met US officials to discuss a truce plan in Lebanon. The officials intended to end Israel's war with Hezbollah as the death toll mounts on both sides. Netanyahu told the US envoys that any Lebanon deal must guarantee Israel's longer-term scrutiny, and the discussions took place amid exchange of ongoing bombardments in Israel and Lebanon. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has once again reiterated his stance against Iran. He said that Israel can reach anywhere in Iran if the need arises. Netanyahu further added that the country has unprecedented freedom of action after the recent airstrikes in Iran. He made the statement while addressing new military officers. And the United States said on Thursday that North Korean troops are ready for combat against Ukraine. Washington added that up to 8,000 North Korean troops have reached Russia's border region with Ukraine. The United States also said that Moscow has been training North Korean troops to handle artillery and drones. This comes just after Pyongyang fired a ballistic missile toward waters off its eastern coast. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha has called on Western nations to lift restrictions to use long-range missiles against Russia. The appeal comes after the reported deployment of North Korean troops on Russia's border region with Ukraine. Calling it their right for self-defense, Sybiha has said that they wanted to target the Russian military. He said the deployment of North Korean troops marked a true escalation of war. South Africa and the Vatican joined Qatar to facilitate the return of about 20,000 Ukrainian children from Russia. Both of the countries joined Qatar at a conference in Canada's Montreal. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates has also offered to help mediate the exchange of Russian and Ukrainian prisoners of war. And Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha says that he was happy with the concrete result by their allies. An anti-government protest broke out in Ecuador yesterday. People protested against power outages that are reportedly lasting up to 14 hours daily. Hundreds of people marched to the streets of the capital of Quito, blaming President Daniel Noboa for an energy crisis. Now, this year, severe droughts have caused reservoirs to diminish, leaving hydroelectric dams offline. The government has cut power to some areas to limit the strain on electricity supplies. And Bolivian President Luis Arce has demanded an end to the blockade set up by supporters of former President Evo Morales. He said that the country has incurred huge economic losses due to the protests. Arce also added that 70 people, including 61 police officers, have been injured. Supporters of the former President Morales have demanded the cessation of the ongoing investigation against him. Morales has been accused of abusing a minor during his presidency. And in climate news, the pollution situation in New Delhi worsened following Diwali celebrations. Citizens in the Indian capital woke up to a blanket of thick smoke in the sky. Some areas of Delhi recorded an air quality index of 359 in the very poor category. People burst firecrackers despite a blanket ban until January of 2025. And the death toll from the devastating floods in eastern Spain has crossed 150. Rescuers are looking for dozens of people still missing. On Tuesday, storms dumped a year's worth of rainfall in a Valencia region just a few hours, and tens of thousands of homes were left without power and drinking water due to the disaster. And Storm Jacob has hit western Norway, triggering several weather warnings. Forecasters have issued a red alert for floods and landslides. The Vestland County has been affected the most. Heavy rainfall and strong winds are predicted in the coming days. Due to the severe weather, multiple railway services have been affected. And Taiwan faced the wrath of Super Typhoon Kongray yesterday. The storm slammed into the eastern coast of the island. At least one person died after the power pole fell in Taipei. And the typhoon also knocked out power to nearly 500,000 Taiwanese households. Kongray's intensity has now decreased and it heads towards China. The United Nations and other coastal countries warns that the world's coral reefs are in danger. They say warming oceans are increasing damaging corals. An emergency meeting at the COP16 summit was held over the issue. The special session revealed that the coral bleaching that began in February of 2023 is the worst on record. Iraq organizes a tree plantation drive in a bid to tackle climate change and global warming. Volunteers from different age groups planted saplings across the country. The campaign is named Eternity Project. It aims to reverse climate change through afforestation. And in the United States, Los Angeles County is taking PepsiCo and Coca-Cola to court. They are being sued over misleading claims on plastic pollution. The lawsuit accuses them of false promises that they made on plastic recyclability. It accuses the companies of fooling customers with their claim of recyclable bottles. PepsiCo and Coca-Cola have been asked to pay penalties for false marketing. And on to business and tech news now. A Russian court has fined tech giant Google around $20 billion. The amount is more than the entire world's GDP. Google's owner Alphabet, even after being the world's most valuable firm, is worth just $2 trillion. This fine is for Google blocking 17 Russian TV channels and other media outlets from YouTube. These channels were blocked after Google shut its operations in Russia following its invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, tech giant Google has integrated its artificial intelligence chatbot Gemini into Google Maps. The move aims to enhance maps with personalized features. Google Maps can now show more relevant search results based on current conditions. The updated Maps also offers AI-generated summaries of locations using users' reviews. An artificial intelligence startup OpenAI has rolled out its search engine. It will be added as a new feature to the AI chatbot ChatGPT, instead of being released as a separate product. OpenAI says that ChatGPT search will dig into web-based on what users ask, and it will provide fast, timely answers using content of its partners. Recently, OpenAI announced partnerships with several publishers, including Condé Nast and the Financial Times. Meanwhile, reports say that Chinese researchers linked to the military are using an AI model developed by social media giant Meta. This model is publicly available. However, Meta prohibits its use by the military or for warfare. Reports indicate Chinese researchers used Meta's AI model to develop an intelligence-gathering tool. It could be used to process intelligence and to provide accurate information for operational decision-making. An iPhone maker, Apple, has reported a 6% rise in its quarterly revenue. The tech giant earned about $95 billion in revenue between July and September this year. Apple's flagship product, the iPhone, continued to drive its income. iPhone sales rose by 6% to over $46 billion. Apple CEO Tim Cook said that the sales of their new iPhone 16 grew faster than its predecessors. Meanwhile, the American chipmaker Intel also reported its third quarter sales yesterday. The firm's revenue declined by 6% to $13.2 billion between July and September. The chipmaker also posted a loss of about $17 billion. However, Intel's share price rose by 7% after its earnings report. This was because the chipmaker's losses were lower than analysts had expected. Intel's CEO said that the firm is going through key restructuring processes. And plane maker Boeing has proposed a new wage contract for its striking U.S. workers. It includes a 38% pay hike over 4 years and a large signing bonus. The workers' unions will vote on the proposal next week, and the union says it has extracted all it could from Boeing. About 33,000 union workers have been on strike for the last 7 weeks, demanding higher pay. Meanwhile, Boeing has reportedly dismantled its Global Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Department. The workers from the team will be integrated into the Human Resources team. The department head, Sarah Leung Bowen, has announced her departure from Boeing. Last month, the plane maker said it planned to cut 17,000 jobs globally. And America's Purdue Pharma says it is close to reaching a new bankruptcy settlement deal. The firm is in talks with its owners and the Sackler family and state and local governments in the U.S. Purdue Pharma filed for bankruptcy in 2019. This was after it was accused of fueling a deadly opioid crisis in the U.S. through its painkiller OxyContin. Now, Purdue Pharma's last bankruptcy deal was blocked by the U.S. Supreme Court. The International Monetary Fund has issued a stark warning for Asian economies. In its latest Asia report, the IMF stated that the region is vulnerable due to the ongoing trade tensions and low Chinese growth. It mentioned that issues in China can provoke trade tensions by hurting sectors in neighboring countries. It added a longer slowdown in China would be harmful for both Asia and the global economy. And moving on to sports news, and we start with cricket. The third and final test match between India and New Zealand is underway in Mumbai. After winning the toss, New Zealand chose to bat first. India have managed to restrict New Zealand at 235 runs by the end of their first innings. New Zealand have already clinched the 3-match Test series after winning previous 2 games. And the list of retained players for the upcoming IPL season is out, and here are the highlights. Heinrich Klaassen was the highest earner in the retention list. Sunrisers Hyderabad paid over $2.7 million to keep the South African star. Mumbai Indians retained 4 players, including Rohit Sharma, while the Royal Challengers Bangalore have retained star batter Virat Kohli. In a major shock, Delhi Capitals let go of Rishabh Pant. Meanwhile, Lucknow Super Giants released KL Rahul. Kolkata Knight Riders retained as many as 6 players, including Andre Russell. And in football, Newcastle beat Chelsea 2-0 in the round of 16 match of the EFL, or the Carabao Cup. Now, Alexander Isak has scored the first goal for Newcastle in the 23rd minute. Just 3 minutes later, Chelsea's Axel Disasi scored an own goal, handing Newcastle a 2-0 lead. Newcastle have now entered the EFL quarterfinals. The next play is with Brentford in the tournament. And French giants Paris Saint-Germain, or PSG, have been handed a partial stadium ban. And this is after fans chanted homophobic slurs during a match. The incident occurred on the 20th of October when PSG played Strasbourg. The French football governing body said that PSG's hardcore fans won't have access to a stand at their home stadium in Paris. The ban will remain in place during PSG's contest against Toulouse after this month. And in tennis news, men's world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz crashed out of the Paris Masters. He suffered a shock defeat to the 18th ranked Hugo Humbert of France, and Humbert defeated the Spaniard 6-1, 3-6, 7-5. This is the first time that Alcaraz has lost to Humbert in 3 meetings. And Russia's Andrei Rublev lost his temper during a second-round Paris Masters match. The Russian lost to Argentina's Francisco Cerundolo in straight sets. Now, during the 2-hour-long match, Rublev routinely shouted at himself. At one point, he smashed his racket and hitting it against his knee at least 7 times. As a result, Rublev's knee started bleeding. And the Belarusian star, Aryna Sabalenka, has become the world's #1 women's single player again in tennis. Sabalenka dethroned her Polish rival Iga Świątek to reclaim the top spot. Sabalenka celebrated the milestone by sharing images of a cake on social media. Sabalenka will next play in the 2024 WTA Finals later this month. Indo-Australian men's doubles Rohan Bopanna and Matthew Ebden have qualified for the ATP Finals. After having won the Miami Open, the duo topped the doubles ranking. The ATP Finals is the season-ending tennis championship held annually. Only the top 8 ranked singles players or doubles teams of the year qualify for the event, and the tournament will start on the 10th of November in Italy's Turin city. In baseball, the LA Dodgers won the World Series title after defeating the New York Yankees 4-1 in the Showpiece tournament. Freddie Freeman was the star of the series. He earned the MVP for his home run heroics in the 5 matches. This is the Dodgers' 2nd World Series title in 5 years. And Ferrari Charles Leclerc is under scrutiny from the Formula One governing body FIA for using a cuss word. Leclerc used a cuss word during an official press conference after the Mexican Grand Prix. The FIA held discussions with the racer, and they may also take action against him. The FIA president Mohammed bin Sulayem has called for drivers to be more mindful of their language. And on to the world of showbiz. Filmmaker and multimedia artist Charlotte Colbert designed a soccer kit, and the kit is for the Southern England-based Lewis FC's women's team. The kit features Colbert's signature eye symbol. Singer-songwriter Kate Nash also ventured into the project, and she created a song and music video for the team. And American actress and singer Jennifer Lopez joined U.S. Vice President and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris' rally. The actor invoked her Puerto Rican heritage at a rally in Las Vegas. Also, she got emotional while endorsing Harris at the event. And comedian actor Bill Burr is set to host the first post-election Saturday Night Live show on the 9th of November. He will make his second appearance as the host of the show. Burr will be accompanied by musical guest MKG, making his debut on the show. While on the 16th of November, Charlie XCX will be on double duty. She will play host as well as a musical guest in the show. And K-pop star G-Dragon made a much-awaited comeback with a new single. The music video was released yesterday. The single, named Power, marked his first solo release in 7 years. G-Dragon hailed his single as the beginning of a new era. And in Canada, a firing incident was reported outside the Indian singer AP Dhillon's house. Now, the Canada police have arrested one accused. He has been charged with the discharge of a firearm with intent and arson. Another suspect continues to remain at large. An American rapper Young Thug has been released from prison. This after the 33-year-old pleaded guilty to charges of gang, drug and gun violence, and the judge had imposed a sentence of 40 years. He was supposed to serve the first 5 years in prison, but the time was commuted to term served. The Grammy-winning artist has to serve 15 years on probation. After successful completion of the probation, another 20 years will be commuted to time served. And the world of Game of Thrones could soon appear on the big screen. According to reports, Warner Brothers are quietly working on at least one film based on the author George R.R. Martin's iconic fantasy universe. The project is reportedly in the early stages. And Dune Prophecy, which is the prequel series to Dune, premiered on Wednesday. The star-studded premiere in New York saw Olivia Williams, Emily Watson, and Travis Fimmel in attendance, among others. The prequel is set 10,000 years before filmmaker Denis Villeneuve's Dune. And the Squid Games 2 teaser was premiered at the Europe's largest Comic-Con, Lucam Comics and Games. According to the show's creators, the second season of the Emmy-winning Netflix series Squid Game promises a bigger cast of characters and more absorbing challenges. The Lucas City event marked the first global promotion for the new season. And Carol Lombardini is set to step down as the president of the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers next year. The incumbent chief negotiator is preparing to take up an advisory role for the organization. She held labor negotiations for top Hollywood companies for 15 years. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president, your primer on the race to the White House, everything you need to know about